What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? And we're back. Of course, we're fucking back. This is Joey JCM, and what am I talking about today? Let's talk about everything. No, actually, let's talk about how the NX reveal is not going to be a system reveal. Well, obviously, they're going to show new hardware, but the NX is going to be more of a ecosystem reveal rather than a system reveal. Lately, if you look around, you see a lot of people, they're digging back, they're digging way back, digging deep, all the way to China. They're digging to all the way when NX was first announced, where Iwata, whatever he's like, I say Iwata, whatever. So Iwata said way back when the NX was first mentioned something about the proof was in the pudding right there, and we all fucking forgot about it. He said that it's going to be a family of systems with one, basically ecosystem. So basically, NX is going to be a thing you access, but how do you want to access it? Okay, so yeah, basically Iwata said it way back in the beginning, when way before this year's worth of rumors were announced. This is when, even though he said all this, it was just too early to even think about what the hell it could be. We just heard what he said and forgot about it, but it was so early on that it was just like, okay, so we couldn't even think or imagine what was going on, even though it's pretty self-explanatory. I don't know why it took a year of rumors to hear this statement again and be like, oh, okay, And I just get this feeling from Nintendo. I was even saying this before. I just got this feeling from Nintendo that they don't want to. It's just like everything we want. Like they can't just say, hey, look, we have it. You know what I mean? Like, my dream reveal would be, we have a fucking powerful system and all the other stuff is going to come second. But yeah, we're going to have new inventions and quote-unquote gimmicks and stuff. That's going to come second. At our base, this NX system is more powerful than the PS4. Basic stuff, but it's Nintendo, and so many generations now of them doing whatever. We kind of know what to expect from them. But yeah, even before I reheard this stuff that Iwata said, that everyone's been talking about recently, I said to myself, this is going to be an ecosystem reveal more than a system reveal. The ecosystem is going to be in the forefront, and whatever they're coming out with is going to be in the back. I see them, obviously they're going to talk about what it's going to be, but in the announcement, I see them talking about the ecosystem and kind of brushing the systems off to the side. And then obviously in side videos, they're going to have, like they did with the Wii U gamepad. Remember that video that, they zoomed in on the gamepad and showed all the features, the speakers and this and that, There's going to be videos like that. But I feel like in their initial reveal, they're going to be like, oh yeah, we got a couple of versions of the NX, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, and then they're going to talk about the ecosystem that NX is going to be. Basically like Apple, and Android. I mean, and this is the way it should go, because backwards compatibility, that problem should be solved. You know what I mean? There should be no backwards compatibility problems. If you buy a game, you should forever be able to play it on your Nintendo ecosystem. Just if I bought Angry Birds 10 phones ago, I could still download Angry Birds on my phone and play it again. You know what I'm saying? It obviously has to be a little different, because you can't have, these NX systems running badly. Because if I played Angry Birds back in the day, it was very, choppy on the first phone I played it on. Obviously, if I play it now on the phone that I have now, it's going to be very smooth and stuff like that. So in true console form, and I feel like the consoles could really fix this, the games have to be optimized and made for the consoles. And if you get a future console, hey, maybe it'll even run, 63 frames per second instead of 60 frames per second, but it has to be able to be made and run great on the current console. That's how you fix that problem. And if you have this ecosystem, like I said, NX2, NX10, whatever, you can download these games again, or hopefully cartridges, and just play them on whatever. And, these cartridge slots should be so small that obviously they could fit. I talked about this before too, the NX should have a 3DS slot in it also, because they're so small. These cartridges should be so small. It should be no problem to put slots for both on these systems. I mean, this reemergence of this news, what Iwata said, is great, because I don't want a less powerful handheld system, even if it connects to my TV. I want my NX system to be at least in between PS4 and PS4 Neo status, okay? Not only because I'm greedy for power, but I'm a Nintendo fan. I want them to do good. So third parties have to have a platform where they can actually work on properly and not make these huge changes or dumb down their games. From what we're hearing, the handheld version is going to be very powerful as well, almost around Xbox One status, which is fine, because the only difference in these games should be resolution. It shouldn't be as wide or as many options as a PC has, because that's the difference between console gaming and PC gaming. You know, for people that are really into tech and want to go into the game and manipulate it and stuff like that, you got it there. Huge market. Perfectly fine, enough people for that. But obviously, console business is $1 billion business. Huge market for people that don't want to, or maybe are just not as technically sound and they just want to pop the thing in and have it work. So the only difference between the NX system and the handheld should be the resolution, because if the NX home console version is as powerful as Neo or in between PS4 and PS Neo, then you have the handheld version, which is close to an Xbox One. That's fine, because that's exactly what PlayStation and Xbox are doing. The only difference in their games is going to be resolution and HDR coloring. You're not going to lose features like the fog or the lighting. That's not the console style of this mid-generation jump. So what we're seeing here, and I actually like this is a good way of fixing it, where it's not as, with computers, if I have an old computer, the game would probably look so basic compared to someone who has a good computer. Someone who has a good computer, they're going to get the snow effects, the lighting effects, the shadow effects. And if I have a shitty computer, a really bad computer versus that, I'm probably going to get none of that, and the game's going to maybe look almost last gen. You know what I'm saying? So the consoles stuff is like fixing this, and if you're going to do this on consoles, this is the way you do it. This is the only way you can do it. And like I said, if you have that power comparison, Xbox One versus Xbox Scorpio, with the NX and the NX home console and the handheld, it's going to be the exact same thing. So the only difference, and what should be the only difference, is resolution. So if I play it on the handheld, maybe I'll be playing it in 720p versus playing it on NX in 1080p and hopefully 4K. I don't even have a 4K TV, but like I said, again, I'm a Nintendo fan. I want them to do good. I want them to be prepared for the future, and just, stop playing these games. You know what I mean? Stop playing these games of, leaving features out and stuff like that. This news about Nintendo having more money than Sony is not new. I don't know why everyone's talking about it now. There was a time when Wii U was coming out, Nintendo also had more money than Sony. That was a news back then. You know what I'm saying? So Nintendo has more money than the whole fucking Sony corporation. And Sony's pumping out this, for the time, super powerful home console, 8 gigabytes of RAM, stuff like that. And Nintendo, well, I mean, they did it because they wanted to, force the game. They wanted to be different, force the gamepad functionality in there. And the gamepad is what really made the Wii U expensive. That's why they had to bump down the specs of the actual system, because if you had a PS4 level power system plus the gamepad at that time in 2012, when the Wii U came out, the system would be through the roof. I mean, Reggie Fils-Aimé said that, the system would be like, I think 400 or 450 or something like that. Really, they actually, for the first time in a while, they were taking a loss on a system, and they sold Wii U for less than it was worth. So with the gamepad in there, it was worth 450 or 400. With last generation technology, because it's only a little bit more powerful, Wii U, than Xbox or Xbox 360 or PS3. So this is 2012, and Xbox 360 and PS3 came out in 2005 and 2006. So you have, what are we saying here? A 7-year-old hardware about you're charging you just as much for a PS4 because of that gamepad. They can't do that anymore. Like the gimmick train and all that stuff has run out. You know, like everyone says, like all the casual gamers that bought a Wii U are now on tablets and stuff like that. So Nintendo really needs to have just a basic, powerful home console. But the point here, as we're saying though, that they're going to be able to do that because it's just going to be like almost like Nintendo's own, I guess, Steam boxes, if you want to say, or Nintendo's own PCs they're going to be selling you. Nintendo version, Nintendo owned PCs, but in a much more simplified way that a mass market can understand. You're gonna have a home console if you want to play at home, really powerful, hook it up to your big Dolby Digital surround sound, all that stuff. You're gonna home console experience or on-the-go experience. That's how they're gonna market it, but then they're gonna talk more about the ecosystem that NX is, and it's really genius by Nintendo because it's really now gonna be not system versus system really. They're gonna be pushing their games, and that's their most powerful asset is their their IPs, Mario, Zelda, and all that stuff. Those are so powerful that no matter how much Nintendo follies, those games, even if it's Wii U, people hear Wii U didn't sell that well, but you know what? Their games though sold millions and millions of copies, and Nintendo branded games still on Wii U sold millions and millions of copies. I mean, a million seller game is considered successful. You know what I'm saying? Wii U sold 10 million systems. So the ratio of people buying Nintendo games like Mario and Zelda and stuff like that were in the millions. So Nintendo was successful with that. So it's really like they said, how can we take our most powerful asset and really compete with that? Because Nintendo has said in the past also that their competition is not just the other guys that make video games. Their competition is all entertainment, blah, blah, blah. So now it's really going to be just like Nintendo games versus everything, because the aspect of the console, they're not going to be pushing the console. Oh, look at this gimmick that we have. Look at us versus them. We have this and they don't have that. Or, like Sony and Microsoft do. Oh, our system is this powerful. No, our system is this powerful. They're not going to be competing with plastic anymore. They're going to be competing with the games, because what you have here now is the Nintendo ecosystem, and where you play those games doesn't matter. Okay, but you're going to be able to play Nintendo games now anywhere. Everyone knows that this has been going on for a while, that they took their home console and handheld divisions, put them into one, and like I've talked about in the past, this is how they're going to solve game droughts, because now the people that made 3DS games and the people that made Wii U games can pump games out into the same ecosystem now. So you can play 3DS or Wii U while, console or handheld games, or just those games in general, will be able to be played any way you want. So the games on 3DS, pump them into the Nintendo ecosystem. The games that would be made on Wii U, pump them into the Nintendo ecosystem. So whether you're on handheld, whether you're on home console, so say you have a Nintendo home console now, you're going to be able to have so many more games rather than, having to go out and buy a whole different ecosystem, which would be the 3DS ecosystem. So whether it's home console, Nintendo could boast, look at all these games we're pumping out. Whether it's handheld, look at all these games we're pumping out. But it's going to be on the same ecosystem, so you could play it either or in any place. So Nintendo now is going to be competing with their games more than competing with plastic versus plastic, and that's a great sign, because now that's even more of an indicator that the gimmicks are not going to be in the forefront. It's more of an indicator that here's a Nintendo home console, here's a Nintendo handheld, and the focus is going to be on the games, not gimmicks anymore, and that's a great thing. So you want to hear things, I bet you what I'm saying right here now, you're going to see on the No and other whoever the fuck, all these other places like weeks from now. Oh yeah, Nintendo is going to be talking about their ecosystem and blah 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 more than the other stuff. I bet you, and you're going to hear it here first, but but anyway, you want to hear stuff, just by smart predictions fucking 6 months before it comes out. stay tuned here for the Nintendo news. And ladies and gentlemen, like I said, what I think the NX is going to be, I guarantee, July update. I also now say that the Nintendo ecosystem is going to have Nintendo games, third-party games, and it's going to have mobile apps. Just like an Apple TV type thing, but much more. I'm going to say it's going to work a lot better, because Apple TV, I hear, is not as a smooth of a transition from the mobile to the TV. Some things are not optimized for it, and some things have to use that Wii remote style thing, whatever the case is. But this is going to be a much more streamlined, easy thing where you're on the TV, you're on the home console, you're going to be able to access the same thing. So yeah, this thing is going to have third-party games, first-party games, and mobile apps. Almost like Nintendo is going to be a third platform. You're going to have Apple, Android, and like a Nintendo type ecosystem there. But ladies and gentlemen, this is Joey JCM. Let me know what you think. Do you think Nintendo is going to do this and push aside what we want to hear? Because we want to hear about the home console stuff. We want to hear about the power. We want to hear about all this. Do you think Nintendo is gonna pull Nintendo and push that stuff to the side, like I'm saying, and talk more about the ecosystem? Or do you think it's gonna be more of a big deal than I'm saying? I still say, like I said, that they're gonna be pushing the games more, and you wanna play Nintendo wherever you wanna do it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joey JCM. I love ya. The NX news is coming. It's right around the corner. I feel it. We're gonna get something very, very soon. There's a tremor in the force, and I bet you in the coming weeks we're at least gonna hear an announcement of when they're gonna have the NX announcement. I will see you. Oh yeah, later. Woo!